Okay, so we've seen everything we need to do with the GET request. I'm now going to have a look at the POST request, where it goes, rather than on the URL in the body of the or the header of the document. There is a fundamental difference between the sending and receiving of information using a POST request and a GET request. The major difference, like I said, is in the body. However, for the coding, it is very, very little different. So if you've written all this for GET request, changing it for a POST request, it isn't too much of an issue. What I'm going to start off with is the PHP. What we should really do is, because there is a fundamental difference between them, is we should have separate files so that we've got both the GET and the POST. In actual reality, you'd probably only have just the one, either a GET or a POST, but because we're having a look at how it's done, we're going to have both. So first of all, I'm going to take the GET person and I'm going to change that for POST person. So file, save as, and change that for POST person.php so we know it's different. And really, all we need to do is everywhere where we've got the word GET, we need to change that for POST in uppercase. So that really should be as much as we need to change. So not a great deal of difference. Just make sure I've got them all, otherwise I'm going to have a problem. Another one down here. And that should be it. So there's all my PHP main file changed. We'll find out if we've got an error a bit later on. So I'm just going to go through all the different files. In index.php, I'm going to change that as well. And the only thing I'm going to change there is from the method from GET to POST. So now I've done enough changes to actually test this out. So if we now recall that our file is POST person, let's get the index file up. There we go. And let's type in blogs. There we go. Yep, don't do what I've done. There's more than one thing to change here. Instead of GET person, we need to have POST person. Right, so let's go back to the index file. There we go. Let's type in Smith just to make sure it's different. Submit. There we go. And notice we do not get any variables passed in the URL. Now, if we're using Python to do it, obviously we're not seeing a URL being passed, but people can pick up the URL and see what's on there, which is why POST is a much preferred method, because they can't see what's being passed in. So let's go and change the Python. And I'm going to do the same sort of thing. Instead of having a handler, I'm going to change that for POST handler, sorry. So I'm going to create another file called posthandler.py. Okay, it's exactly the same file, and this is what I'm going to do to change for a POST method. So I'm just going to call POST person, going to lose that information from there, and instead of having that, I'm going to pass it as a parameter, and that should be it. Let's tidy up that line. So I've now changed this from a GET request to a POST request. It's quite straightforward, quite simple. So let's just run it and see what happens. Smith. Perfect. Okay, we're going to learn how to actually send information to a database so we can create more records in future videos.